Number 15. A dad and a daughter are all smiles as they board an elevator. The ride is smooth and they look at themselves in the mirror for about 30 seconds, completely unaware of how unsafe they actually are. Minutes later, the empty elevator is ripping past floors with enough speed to shake the entire carriage. The door is slightly open and nothing is working properly as the lift slams into the roof hard enough to dislodge panels and light fixtures. Thankfully, no passengers were on board, but had the two from earlier still been inside, it would have been a daddy-daughter demise for certain. I can only wonder how many times something like this has almost happened to you or me without realizing. Number 14. This older video from Japan seems to suggest that military cloaking technology has been available for quite some time. It almost looks like a top secret promotional sales video that somehow got leaked to the public over the years. Here you can see a Japanese soldier covered in reflective materials that are designed to bend light around his body, rendering him completely invisible. Listen to this part and try to translate what he is saying if you can.
それもやはり背中につけたカメラで背景を撮影し、それを表側のセンサーに
I have a feeling they are talking about the materials used for this light-bending suit and how they work. After this brief explanation, you finally get to see the suit in action. You can see the man pretty well when they move, but when they are standing still, it looks almost impossible to detect. It's hard to tell if this is special effects or a real cloaking suit. If this is real, then I can only imagine the technology has gotten even better over the years and is now virtually impossible to detect even with motion. Number 13. It's late at night when an unusual looking mist makes the driver pull over and start recording. Something is off about the scenery. It doesn't look or feel natural, and less than a minute later, this appears directly in front of them. First orbs dance all around, and then the fog clumps together to form a phantom reaching out. I've never seen fog behave like this, and the way it rises looks just like a person standing up. There's no denying the shape is human, and if you look close enough, you can make out its entire body, head, shoulders, arms, and all. The phantom vanishes as quickly as it came, leaving the person standing by the side of the road wondering what they really just saw. Number 12. A broken power line wraps itself around a traffic light in Manchester, New Jersey, and this utility worker has to safely retrieve it. He grabs the fallen end and whips it over with all of his might. The line dislodges after 3 tries, but unluckily for him, it lands directly in a pothole filled with water, and the current carries clear across the road. The whole reason he doesn't drop lifelessly to the ground must be his yellow suit, which I assume is fully insulated to protect against high voltage electricity. He runs away as a spectacular light shoal darkens the sky above. The video is taken from the dash cam of a Manchester police officer who is directing traffic away from the power line as a precaution against this very event. Number 11. This is apparently police dash cam footage from Arizona. The officer is clearly on highway patrol at night, and after a short while, he takes a turn down a dirt road. This is where he spots a woman standing alone in the road with some small embers near her feet. Though it originally appears she is standing with her back turned to the police officer, soon after she lifts up her arms, and there appears to be 2 glowing eyes facing the officer. The footage ends shortly after with no further explanation. I searched but couldn't find any footage of the incident after this part, so we may never know what happened next to this officer or this woman with glowing eyes. Number 10. It's 2 in the morning, and a man is walking home from work in Dayton, Ohio, when the ground opens up beneath his feet and swallows him whole.
Just walking casually walking, and the concrete underneath me collapsed.
Before he knows it, he is staring up at a complete stranger who is pointing a camera at him from about 10 feet above. Also sticking up from the ground like a spear next to him is a broken piece of steel bar used to reinforce the sidewalk. It gave way just a few feet from where he landed and nearly went straight through him. Somehow, despite falling through a jagged chunk of sidewalk, he is unscratched and able to move. Rescue workers eventually get him out with a ladder before any more of the sidewalk breaks off and seals him inside. The city later explains that this was likely due to a high volume of basements in the area, so if you happen to live here, watch your step. Number 9. A YouTuber named Sturin's Wild World is grabbing some firewood from a pile when she notices something small and dangerous moving from within. You probably don't see anything, and neither did I at first. Without some hesitation, she carefully uses a grabbing stick to extract the beast from its hiding spot.
More venom. More venom!
It's not just any cobra, it's a cobra that actually spits venom. The sight fills her with fear and fascination. Watch as she keeps its mouth pointed away from her as she examines its body. She is giving some basic information about the species when it somehow slips past her guard. It doesn't look like she loosens her grip at all, but rather the snake flattens its jaws and slides through.
Okay, the reason why I'm in love. Whoa!
She manages to snag it by the tail again and moves backwards as the snake comes at her, spitting venom all the while. The video ends before she gets a chance to release it, but based on how it's aggressively moving towards her, I have no idea how she plans to get away. Number 4. Number 8. Zayneo barely manages to turn his live stream on and say hello before something unexplainably paranormal happens behind him. The window somehow goes from being tightly shut to wide open in less than 10 seconds without a sound. If I'm not mistaken, this type of window doesn't even open from the outside, meaning that somebody had to be standing in the room to even push it open. Zayneo quickly searches his house in less than a minute and finds no one else is home, but when he crosses into the living room, the batteries in his smoke alarm go off for no reason at all. I know this part is real because this is the first time you hear the smoke alarm beep in the entire video.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Smoke alarm malfunction?
The smoke alarm going off, combined with the window opening by itself, is enough to convince me that this is probably paranormal. Number 7. Todd T captures a large humanoid-looking figure going down his neighbor's chimney. He's too far away to pick up any discernible details, but the creature looks to be far too large to be a bird or pretty much any other animal. Whatever this is, it looks to be the size of a human. The mysterious creature stuffs itself down the chimney in less than a minute, at which point I'm guessing it roams around the interior of the home for whatever it can find. What happened to Todd's neighbor is anyone's guess. Number 6. This neighborhood in Land O'Lakes, Florida, was built on shaky ground, and now the earth is reclaiming the houses as its own. Within the course of 9 hours, this house is completely snapped in half and sinking into a swell of groundwater so deep that it engulfs a palm tree with ease.
Look, the water. See how much water?
¿Y se lo pasa a nosotros?
Hours later, the sinkhole has easily quadrupled in size and is busy dismantling a second house. There is nothing that can be done as the foundation is ripped away. Here you can see how close this third pink house comes to being lost in the abyss. Only a small strip of land protects its corner from going under, but somehow it holds firm and the family is able to recover their belongings. Sadly, all of the remaining houses had to be condemned because even though they were spared this time, the sinkhole could randomly widen at any minute. It's a terrible situation, but perhaps most terrifying is that moments before their eventual collapse, you would never suspect that anything was wrong. All of the houses look structurally sound in these photos taken months prior. The yards and driveways look level, the telephone poles stand straight up without leaning, and the roads likewise look smooth and have little cracks. In other words, exactly like your neighborhood probably looks right now. Number 5. This house is supposedly haunted, and the family room reportedly has the most activity out of anywhere. As you can see in this close-up shot, there is nothing out of the ordinary about this mirror at all, but once the paranormal investigation is underway, a woman's colorless face appears in the upper left quadrant. She is staring directly at the camera with 2 black holes for eyes. Her thin lips and nose clearly visible. As far as I can see, there is nothing in the room that could cast such a strangely vivid reflection. Number 4.
So what are you doing here now? Show off.
This video supposedly comes from a captured alien who is being held somewhere within the Area 51 outpost. When they ask it where it is from, the alien gives a surprising response. It goes on to explain that traveling through time is the same as traveling through space, though his answers always remain cryptic and sometimes impossible to understand. This video is probably not real because the alien sounds like a basic voice changer app, but then again it does look very lifelike and convincing at times, especially when it becomes displeased and ends the interview abruptly. Number 3. Something has crawled up this poor woman's leg and refuses to come out. Her friend almost has it by the tail, but then at the last second it does the unthinkable and burrows even deeper. The scared animal probably would have gone up way higher if she didn't stand up in time and let gravity force it back down. She is either trying not to scream or lose her lunch as her friend tries again, this time wrapping its tail around his index finger. He manages to extract a giant rat and quickly puts it back in its container. The rat looks used to being handled, and this is probably the only thing that kept it from trying to bite and scratch its way out. Number 2. World powers have been locked in a secret underground race to control the fate of the atmosphere itself. China, Russia, and the US are working on a new microwave technology that can jam radio signals by heating up a small portion of the sky to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The new technology puts out up to 260 megawatts of energy into the atmosphere at one time, roughly the equivalent of an entire city, and blocks all major frequencies from receiving signal. Now it seems the US has taken the technology and put it on fighter jets. We still aren't sure what heating up the atmosphere will do to the Earth in the long run, but it could possibly worsen existing environmental problems. It's hard to tell what effects this will have on nearby civilian populations, though I doubt it will be anything good. Based on what you've seen here, let me know if you think the world has gone too far with this technology, and if we should put limits on its usage. I've got a challenge for you. Since you've made it this far, why not like this video and hit subscribe in the next 5 seconds? Because we upload a new scary video every week. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. Number 1. Thomas Gilmer runs a computer store and often buys old computer equipment from his customers on the cheap. This time he gets a computer at a bargain price, and when he pops open the cover, he immediately understands why the seller was so quick to part ways. The inside is covered from end to end with the remains of thousands of dried up cockroaches, and to top it off, a single living spider crawls across this disgusting bug wasteland.
Look at that.
According to the description, the smell of the computer was just as repugnant as the site itself. All I know is that Thomas better hope that none of the bugs were alive and managed to scurry away. A single living roach could go on to infest this building as easily as it did this previous owner's home. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!